In the early 17th century, Amsterdam was still a city in the making. Built on marshy land at the edge of the North Sea, it did not seem destined for greatness. Yet within a single lifetime, this modest port would transform into one of the most powerful cities on Earth. From a distance, Amsterdam appeared calm and orderly. Canals traced careful lines through the landscape, houses stood shoulder to shoulder, and church towers rose above the rooftops. Everything seemed measured, controlled. But beneath this quiet surface, something extraordinary was taking shape. Trade was accelerating, capital was concentrating. Information moved faster here than anywhere else in Europe. This was the beginning of the Dutch Golden Age, and at its center stood Dam Square and the Damrak, where Amsterdam truly came alive. This was where Amsterdam truly came alive, not as a symbol of power, but as a working core of movement, exchange, and calculation that defined the city itself. Ships arrived daily, heavy with goods from across Europe and far beyond. Grain from the Baltic fed the population. Wine from France filled cellars. Timber from Scandinavia became ships and warehouses, while spices from Asia passed through careful hands. Merchants crowded the quays, brokers traded information, clerks filled ledgers, carts rolled endlessly between water and land. The dam was more than a structure holding back water. It was the economic anchor of the city, where river, harbor, and market converged. Trade set the rhythm of daily life. Amsterdam did not rely on royal courts or ancient nobility. Its power came from commerce, contracts, and credit. By the 17th century, money moved faster here than anywhere else in Europe, and speed ruled the city. As the city expanded, Amsterdam did something radical. Instead of growing chaotically, it was carefully planned, measured, and engineered with long-term purpose. Growth was guided by design. A vast network of canals, the Herengracht, Keizersgracht, and Prinsengracht, was constructed in a sweeping arc around the old city. These canals were not decorative, they were infrastructure, built to solve problems of space and movement. Waterways functioned as transportation routes, drainage systems, and defensive barriers. Goods moved efficiently from ships to warehouses, waste was carried away, streets stayed passable, foundations dry, and commerce uninterrupted. This engineered landscape reflected a deeper mindset. Amsterdam believed that nature could be controlled, reshaped, and improved through collective human effort, planning, and discipline. Water was no longer an obstacle. It became a system, a tool, and the foundation of the city's success and stability. It defined how city thought. Along the Herengracht lay the most prestigious addresses in Amsterdam. This was the Golden Bend, a stretch of canal where wealth gathered quietly but unmistakably, shaping the city's balance of power. Tall, narrow houses lined the water, their elegant facades designed to signal stability, taste, and success. Behind these walls lived merchants, bankers, ship owners, and directors of powerful trading companies. Their homes were offices as much as residences, places where business and private life overlapped. These were not aristocrats by birth. They were self-made elites. Their fortunes were built through trade, shipping, calculation, and risk. Status here came not from lineage, but from contracts honored, voyages completed, and capital multiplied. From their canal houses, they financed expeditions across oceans, insured ships against storms and loss, and managed flows of credit that connected Asia, Africa, and the Americas. Decisions made at these desks shaped distant ports and unseen lives. Amsterdam had no king, yet it was ruled by influence, and influence lived here, along the water, behind quiet doors. Beyond the canals lay the harbor, facing the IJ. This was where Amsterdam's power became fully visible, no longer abstract or hidden in ledgers, but material, loud, and constantly in motion. The waterfront was crowded with masts and sails, forming a forest of rigging against the sky. Shipyards rang with the sound of hammers and saws as hulls were built, repaired, and expanded. Dock workers loaded and unloaded cargo day and night, their labor keeping the city's vast trade system in constant motion. Amsterdam was home to the Dutch East India Company, the VOC, the most powerful corporation of its time. Its ships sailed to Indonesia, India, Africa, and the Americas, linking distant worlds into a single commercial network. They returned with spices, sugar, silk, and silver, goods that reshaped European markets and daily life. This global trade generated immense wealth, but it also bound the city to systems of exploitation, colonial control, and forced labor, often far from view. Amsterdam prospered because it was connected to the world. Every tide brought opportunity and consequence. For every merchant who grew rich, thousands of others labored to keep the city moving. Prosperity at the top depended on endless effort below, carried by muscle, time, and discipline rather than profit. Port workers hauled heavy loads through mud, rain, and winter cold, moving barrels and crates from ship to shore without pause. Shipbuilders worked long hours shaping hulls and masts, hands hardened by wood, tar, and iron. Sailors faced dangerous voyages, harsh discipline, disease, storms, and the constant chance of never returning home. Amsterdam was efficient, but it was not gentle. Its wealth rested on constant work and constant risk, distributed unevenly across society. For many, wages were low, safety uncertain, and exhaustion routine. The city never truly slept. Even at dawn, the harbor stirred with motion. Smoke rose from workshops, bells marked the hours, footsteps echoed on wet stone, and water reflected cranes, sails, and passing boats. This continuous labor sustained an endless economy. This was the cost of becoming a global city. By the late 1600s, Amsterdam had become more than a city. It was a system, interconnected, disciplined, and constantly in motion. A system of canals and commerce, of houses and harbors, of wealth, labor, and ambition working together. Built on water, shaped by trade, and sustained by human effort, Amsterdam operated with remarkable efficiency. Movement was planned, risk carefully calculated, and profit deliberately organized. Power here did not depend on kings or armies, but on infrastructure, finance, and trust. Amsterdam emerged as a model of early modern urban power. Its influence would extend far beyond its canals, shaping banking, city planning, and global trade for centuries to come. From water and trade, Amsterdam built an empire.